Hey, welcome back to the Lutheran Worship Podcast. My name is Steve Zank. On behalf of the Center for Worship Leadership at Concordia University, Irvine, we're glad that you're here. I'd like to first say, you guys all know I'm joined by the one, the only Kip Fox, right? Kip, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Steve. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, dude. Well, I mean,
how are you?
Oh, dude, I'm doing very good. I'm doing very good. I just sent a complete draft of my PhD into my advisor. So now I'm just going to wait to see, and then they'll send me some comments. And so that was really good.
Oh,
yeah,
very good. What a feeling.
What a feeling. And so I think today we're talking about feelings. And the feeling I want to ask you about, Kip, is, let's just say it's your average Monday lunch.
Okay.
You know, and you're going to be going out to eat.
Yeah.
What kind of food are you gravitating towards? Are you going to be going to a nice fancy place? Are you grabbing a slice? Are you grabbing a sandwich? If money is no object, it's just about the experience. What do you want to have for lunch today?
Money is no object. I can have the most extravagant lunch that money can buy. First of all,
you'd have to eat it.
First of all, even conceiving of going out to lunch on a Monday is just blows my mind. Yeah. I can't even imagine that thought, but that sounds amazing.
It's grace
I'm
upon
going to see if I can go out to lunch.
Yeah.
Next Monday. I'm gonna do it. I don't know if I've ever gone out to lunch on a Monday, or it's been years.
Yeah, but in this analogy, you are in this story. You are. It's Monday.
You know, I would probably. I would get some sort of really, really, really nice salad. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Just a great salad. I mean, maybe like a Greek salad.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I was feeling indulgent, maybe a Cobb salad.
Yeah.
Or maybe
that bacon blue cheese. Can't beat it.
Yeah. I don't know. How about you, Steve?
Honestly, right now I'm feeling like a nice. It's a great Greek place locally here, and they make great legit Euro pita sandwiches.
Yeah.
And there's something about that just
sounds
really
good.
Cozy and nice and comfort foody. And this is kind of an analogy, Kip, to our conversation today about songwriting cultures or song cultures. And there's an important conversation in the LCMS, in the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, that was in part joined by Gene Veith in an article he wrote about culture, and also the recent book by Philip Magnus, In Church Music for the Care of Souls. And so we're joining that conversation a little bit today, talking about culture and songwriting. And I think it's a good analogy for this a little bit, is that food is the same thing. There's different cultures of food. You can have the gourmet experience. Mm-hmm. You can have the comforting classic, or a crowd pleaser that everyone loves, a popular famous restaurant that everyone's going to around the corner. You want to give it a try. There's different styles there. And so let's grab our metaphorical fork and let's dig in to the cultures we're talking about today. We'll introduce to you these three categories that we're talking about. And they're drawing again from Gene Veith and Magnus's work, but we're adding our own twist to it. So the first on our menu is the mastery approach to songwriting. You might say this is the filet mignon of songwriting, Kip. I don't know if that's true or not.
I was thinking of the foie gras, perhaps.
Oh, yeah. This is for connoisseurs, right? Mm-hmm. These are for the folks who swirl their wine before taking a sip, right? And they can distinguish the sound of a Stradivarius and the one from the pawn shop down the street. This approach is about sophistication, complexity. It could be a really cool thing to experience either as a food or as a musical style. And you can think of composers, maybe like Mozart or Beethoven, who wrote symphonies that required orchestras of many, many musicians, or intricate guitar solos like in the band Dream Theater or Radiohead, right? This music actually demands technical virtuosity. And so that's really a big part of this first approach to songwriting. Kip, have you ever written songs like this, or any songs come to mind in this theme?
Well, I would say complex is not my forte for sure, but I know what you're talking about. And when I think about, I think about bands like the Punch Brothers as a bluegrass band, and the compositions made therein by folks like Chris Thile. Or I think about Snarky Puppy, right? With these crazy things going on. Or gosh, what was Wolfpack with the funky, awesome, highly skilled dudes. So a lot of that kind of stuff that comes to my mind.
Yeah, it's like if someone tried to cover a Wolfpack song, and it was like the groove was off, and the song would fall pretty far flat pretty quick because it requires like a really good sense of the musicality. And so I think that worship songs that require the musicians to be really good, they could be good songs, but there are songs like this. Like, remember the old Tommy Walker song, "There Is a Rock"?
Yeah.
They had that great guitar line, the ba 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 ba, whole that whole line. That just required a good band to do at a church service. And so I think that's part of what this whole style of writing is. If you write a song that requires really excellent vocal performance or really excellent musicianship and it can't be translated to other more amateur musicians, and it's probably in this category.
Yeah, and we should say as we start these, all three of these categories have their place and find a place in worship. And so we're not saying that a complex song or a song that requires great mastery is unwelcome by any means, but we are trying to create awareness about the three kinds of these three kinds of songs we'll talk about, and where the differences lie, and how we sort of decipher that as we write and as we plan for worship.
And that reminds me of the fact that we're not talking about a divide between contemporary and traditional music, right? So get style out of your head. There is a mastery complex approach to songwriting or music in the contemporary area and in the traditional area. There's traditional songs that require excellence in music and the virtuoso performances, just like in modern music. Now we're joining this conversation with Philip Magnus, right? So Magnus does give an important nod to this genre, but he says we should approach it with caution because church music, if it's all about technical prowess, it can be sometimes hard for us to realize that it should be about ultimately the Lord's song sung by God's people. And so special music does have the best chances for these kinds of things. But if all of our songs require virtuoso performances, we might be missing out on what should be the stable diet in a church for songwriting or song selection. And so that's the idea, is like we can't eat filet mignon every day, Kip. We can't have that ornate meal every time. It's good to taste it every now and again, but it shouldn't be the mainstay.
Yeah, I think it could be said that, songs that require mastery can often glorify God because they sound amazing, because the skill that is needed glorifies God. If it's a song that requires mastery that has a text to it, oftentimes those songs are chosen because they proclaim the gospel in a powerful way, and they use musical mastery to do that, or a powerful voice to do that. So again, it can be a positive.
The next approach is the consumer approach, and that's the idea. I think maybe the musical equivalent of a bacon cheeseburger with French fries, Kip, and ranch dressing, right? It's satisfying, it's comforting, it's universally appealing for the most part. Even if you're, come on, dude, everyone loves the avocado on there.
That's probably not universal enough. Sorry.
It's possible. No,
you were saying.
Right, dude. But as music fills the airwaves, this approach is catchiness. It's the top hits on the charts. And the way you know it is it's really, really catchy, and it doesn't divide people that much. It doesn't require that much of people, and you can't really escape it. It's an earworm. It's immediately accessible. Sometimes actually with the mastery approach, it takes a second to get into it. Like the first time I heard Radiohead's Kid A album, I was like, what is this? I can't even get my head around what's going on here. And now it's one of my favorite records that they put out. You've got to sort of take time to get into a song. It's in that approach. But in the consumer approach, it's right there. And immediately you can catch on and grab it. I think of the theme song for Trolls. What's that one?
I got this feeling.
Come on, dude.
Sunshine in my pocket.
Yeah.
Justin Timberlake.
Who's not tapping their foot to that thing? So it's not lacking artistry. It still could be artistic, but it's the art of the hook, right? The perfect chorus. And Magnus, in this area, critiques it because he's concerned the focus becomes entertainment if we have too much of this kind of instead of spiritual edification as the main goal.
Yeah, and I think when you think talking about consumer, we're talking about consumption. So, as a congregation would consume a song in this category, not necessarily participate, but easily consume and understand, and broadly, I think, generationally, be able to understand and take in this sort of song.
All right, so then the last approach we're talking about culturally, we call the involvement approach. After we cover these three, we're going to talk about what Magnus and Veith do and how our approach is different. But let's just keep doing our thing here for a second. The involvement approach, Kip, I don't know if you can resonate with this. Let's just pretend that everyone can eat gluten and sugar and chocolate chips.
Mm-hmm.
The involvement approach, I think, is like a warm, gooey tray of chocolate chip cookies. You know, like everyone's getting involved in it. We're all grabbing one. We're all eating one together. It's not too fancy, but everyone's in.
Yeah, that's my love language.
Maybe a group of friends at a campfire, you know, passing around a guitar, singing a song together. And you know, no one cares how perfect pitched everything sounds. You know, no one really cares about how great the guitar part is. You're just together singing a song that everyone knows. And it really is driven by the joy of a communal experience. Does it make sense?
Yeah, and also probably a simplicity of a melodic simplicity that helps everyone, I think, would be part of this involvement as well.
Yeah, simplicity, so that even your grandma can sing it and your kid, and they can both be singing it. Yeah. Yeah, and so now that we've brought up these three categories, I think everyone can kind of see how they work and form the landscape of music today. You can place almost any song you think about primarily into one of these categories as you think about them, and you realize a songwriter is probably actually starting off, maybe not even intentionally, but pushing the song towards one of these approaches. So let's quickly say then how we've adapted this model. So Gene Veith, instead of the complex mastery approach, he talks about the high approach or high art or high culture approach. And then Magnus, in talking with him, intended to continue that, but he actually called it art culture. So what we're calling complex or mastery culture, Veith calls high culture, and Magnus calls art culture. I like what we're doing here because it stays out of, you know, high culture. One of the things that happens that comes along with that model is the idea there's also a low culture. So if you're not doing complex music, that's no longer part of what's considered high culture. It's low culture. And I know what he's doing, but I think complex mastery, I like that for us. The other difference we have in our paradigm is that instead of folk culture, we have that participation involvement culture. So I think that folk culture, there's the idea of folk music, the idea of all kinds of connotations come along with the idea of folk. And so we're just trying to say, really what we're trying to get down to is this third culture involves people being involved. And if there was no lead singer, if it was just a musician in a congregation and the musician had a guitar, that the congregation could, in essence, lead the songs. You don't need a vocalist. That's in the worship service for me, like when the mics go out, there's a technical problem, and the congregation keeps singing, but the lead singer is no longer really being heard above everybody else. It can be a beautiful moment, because it's like, oh, wow, like the congregation is singing the song. We don't really need someone singing to us. It can be helpful, but that kind of moment, a song that can do that reveals it's probably a part of this involvement culture.
Yeah, I would say the doxology comes to mind as well.
Yeah.
You know, just someone starts singing that and everybody's good to go.
Yeah.
Even folks that may have never heard it before, whatever, it's pretty, it's nice and involvement oriented from the beginning.
So let's close out our time together with maybe drawing out a couple of conclusions and then doing a quick recap of the three cultures. For me, the first conclusion, and it's in line with the work of Magnus in his book, is this idea that really in the church, the primary diet of songwriting needs to be the involvement culture. And we want to encourage songwriters and church musicians to write and select songs that work and are beautiful because the church can sing them. And that doesn't mean that you can't have other, tastes of things here and there, have a little bit of a mastery culture taste or have a little taste of the pop with a certain kind of chorus feel, but that the mainstay diet would be involvement oriented. And that would be an encouragement, because in a lot of ways that really gets to the core of what songs are for the church. And you want to put the songs in the mouths of the people and hear them sing the songs of God and about their faith. That's really the first takeaway for me.
Yeah, and I would add that involvement-oriented is sort of a malleable space depending on your cultural context.
Yeah.
So, but we all understand the goal, and we could certainly argue ourselves into saying that, what I see on a YouTube video of a massive stadium singing this song, everybody's involved. That doesn't mean it's an involvement-oriented song for your context.
Yeah.
So we can dig into that in another podcast. But all that to say, that is the goal. But again, everything is sort of contextual, and we need to consider that as we make our choices.
Yeah, it's so well said. Okay. All right, Kip. Now the final thing, I've put up a table of 9 different songs.
Okay.
And let's talk about some of these then in the context of our conversation about culture. The first is Anthony Evans and Christ Alone. That song teaches us something really important, which is, if you listen to that version sometime, pull it up, listen to it. It is the hardest to follow in Christ Alone I've ever heard. You can't sing to it. It's stylized. It's got very interesting chords to it. And that teaches us that in Christ Alone, which is usually known as a very singable song, can be arranged out of the involvement approach into a mastery approach. So again, it's not just the what's written as, but how it's performed can affect it. And that's not to say that Anthony Evans's arrangement's not a good one. It's just probably not the best one to encourage congregational singing. So that's kind of one approach, one way to talk about that. The second thing is the Green Day crowd singing Bohemian Rhapsody. You ever seen that video before, Kip?
Yeah, pretty amazing.
Well, tell us about the scene. What is it like? What's happening there?
Well, they're waiting for the concert to start, and I believe that the pre-concert music, they turn up Bohemian Rhapsody, and the whole crowd just absolutely nails the song word for word, note for note. Which I think you're going on to say, Steve, a song like Bohemian Rhapsody, which would have a lot of mastery to it and is complex in nature, in a context like a bunch of fans of Green Day who grew up in a certain generation where they know that song by heart, is completely an involvement-oriented song all of a sudden.
Yeah, all of a sudden. And I think it matters that you're in a giant field waiting for Green Day to come play. And so the context all matters. And you can't go to your, this is an analogy, I'm extending it, okay? You can't go home to your church and try to have everyone sing Bohemian Rhapsody just because you sang it at a concert.
Right.
It's like, why did it fall flat? Well, it really was important where you were at and the scene you were in.
Let's go.
Let's do one more of these, which is Sierra Hull, Lord, That's a Long Way Home. You should watch that song sometime. It is an amazing bluegrass performance. So fun to watch, but it relies completely on virtuosity. And she's playing some incredibly quick notes. The band is playing some incredibly quick notes. And when you go see someone like that in concert, if they don't shred it up, if they don't tear it up, if they don't play something amazing that just blows your mind, you're going to go home thinking like, what did I pay for?
Right.
The reason you go there is to hear something incredible like that. And so, that song they wrote, it had to be an incredible piece of music. So with that in mind, what can we take away then is, if you're a songwriter, maybe own what genre you're writing in. And then think about the audience. It's cool. Write a mastery complex song. Just realize you're not writing it to be the main way a congregation sings in a worship service, probably.
Yeah, write a prelude for your organist to play.
Yeah, write a really fun, catchy chorus that doesn't say very much, but's really fun to sing. And
everybody can grab onto.
Yeah, like the Psalms, they say, Ki let holam hasto, right? His love endures forever. The repetition of that is a chorus. It's almost a pop chorus in a way, because it's not talking about the atonement. It's not talking about eschatology. It's not talking about the Lord's Supper, but just the simple truth that the love of God endures forever. And then finally, of course, think about what kind of songs you can write for people to sing and really get involved. I want to encourage you in a way about this, because these songs are the hardest to write, I think. It's so easy to write a song that you'd love to sing and that it's great for your voice, and a song that really highlights what's great about your voice and how you sing. But to write a song that can be sung by anyone, anywhere, and a message that's so compelling that it teaches something and people can sing it, that's a very hard task. Kip, as someone who's tried this and done this successfully for many years, how do you even start to think about maybe one or two ways you start thinking about how to write a song like this?
Yeah, well, I think you can do it one of two ways. You can start out writing with extremely intentionally, and do that in terms of when you talk about involvement oriented, in a way that has melodies that are simple and memorable, but have, as you said, a message that is enduring and perhaps even rich. You can start out that way. Or oftentimes you start out with a text or a scripture passage or an idea that you heard from a sermon on Sunday. And as that music develops, you can start to make a choice at the crossroads. Okay, where are we going here? Is this something that I would like my congregation to sing, or is this song moving into a space where it may move them, it may proclaim the gospel to them, but they won't be participating as much? And make that choice. And as you said, it can be a challenge on the involvement-oriented side. But again, it doesn't just mean writing something that has a very steady meter and very predictable lines. But it can be something that, again, fits your context. And when you think about writing for kids to be involved, you think about writing for teens to be involved, you think about writing for folks in retirement here in 2026 to be involved, or you think about writing for every single person to be able to be involved. Where does that line draw? And that's what makes it difficult, as you said, to be able to make it involvement oriented for an entire group of generations. Is pretty unique.
This is a blast, Kip. Thank you for sharing your expertise as a songwriter. I hope this whole approach to songwriting and music was helpful. Talking about cultures. As a podcast, we're going to keep talking about culture. We're going to come back again to it and talk about it in future episodes. But we think about worship planning, we think about Lutheran worship, we think about music and style. This is a primary category, these three cultures. And you'll find the more you engage in the music of the church, you'll find that they fall into one of these three categories, and you'll begin to understand more how to plan it in your service, why or why not people are singing in your congregation, and maybe how to write the kind of song you want to write and to own it. So what do you think, Kip?
I think this, as you said, has been a lot of fun. I think there's so much more to uncover. I know that in future podcasts, we'll cover more of these topics. I'm curious for us to dive into why involvement-oriented songs are the best heavy diet for your church.
Yeah.
And things like that.
Yeah, that's a great topic, actually. Maybe we should do it next week. Should we make us a part 2?
Let's do it.
All right. Okay. So join us next week then for further conversation about this. And we're going to talk more about the involvement approach, especially, and why it's preferred for congregational singing and for church music. Kip, blast to see you. Good to see you, man.
All right. Hey.
Yeah. Thanks for being
enjoy
here.
Your gourmet lunch out.
Come on, dude. You know that's right.